Hi guys, this is Raja from Charger Games. So in this video we're gonna learn how to create a simple cute looking character for our games using Inkscape, and we will also take a look at how we can animate that character in Unity game engine. So if everything goes right, then this is the character that we're gonna create, and then we're gonna use Unity to animate this character. So I'm really excited for this tutorial. I hope you are as well. So let's get started. So as I have said, we're gonna use Inkscape for this. Inkscape is a free vector art program. It's like Adobe Illustrator, but it's free and open source, and it's really awesome. You can do everything that you can do with Illustrator or CorelDRAW or any other vector based program. So as you can see, this is what we see here, and I can go to File, Document Properties, and as you can see, by default you probably see this page border, but I don't like this, so I actually disable this. Now I have used Inkscape for most of my artworks, and if you have taken my courses, you have also seen me using Inkscape for the courses. So let's try to create the cute monster. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this circle tool and draw a circle like this, and as you can see, we cannot see anything here. That's probably because there's some problem here. So as you can see here, if we double click on the fill, we have this fill and stroke window. So from here, make sure you have this fill selected and make sure you have a color selected for the fill. Now you can go here and select any color you want. I think I'm going to use a color something like this, and make sure the opacity is set to 100%. Now this is the first time we are using it, so I had these settings from my previous project, so that's why these things were changed. But for you, probably these things will not be changed. And another thing is that, as you can see here, we have something called stroke. And as you can see, in my case, the stroke is set to no paint. But in your case, the stroke will probably be set to something like this. So you can click on this cross to set it to no paint. Okay. So now that we have done that, now as you can see, we can modify this circle to anything or any shape like this, but we can only modify it in the length and width and something like this. But if we want to completely modify it like anything we want, then what we need to do is we need to convert this object to a path. Okay, so to do that, we're going to select this, go to path, and from I'm going to select object to path, or we can also select Shift Control C. And now it has been converted to a path. So now if I select this path selection or edit paths by nodes, whatever the tool is, if I select that, now as you can see, we can simply modify it like any way we want just by using these nodes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it something like this, and I'm going to also make it a little bit bigger on the top side. And this one I'm gonna make something like this and something like this. And you don't need to make it even because it's a monster and it's not gonna be even on every side. So you can use it to do anything you want. I think I'm gonna drag these handles to make it look something like this. Okay, I think I have done most of the things that I had to do. So now next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some bumpy looking fur or body of the monster, whatever you can say. It's your character, so you can design it as you want. So to do that, I'm going to use the circle tool again and drag to create some circles. Now as you can see here, we have one circle, and you can press Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate these circles, or you can right click and click duplicate to duplicate the circles and then move them like this. Now I'm going to press Ctrl D continuously, and I'm going to move them to different locations and place them like this all over the circle. So this will create the fur-like body for the creature. And as you can see, the body is not even on every side. So that's what you should do. You should not create a uniform body because it's not a uniform character. And you need to make sure you can simply make some circles small or big, or you can make something like this, and you can change the shapes of few circles to make sure that you don't make it a human-like creature where everything is even it's a cartoon character, so you should make it something like this so that there's some variation all over its body. So as you can see, I have created something like this, and I think this should work okay with our project. So now what we need to do is we need to select everything and make it a one single object. To do that, I'm gonna drag my handle and select all these things, and make sure you have this tool selected before doing that. So don't try to do that using the circle tool because it will create a big circle. So select everything like this, go to path and click on union. So if you do that, now you can see everything has become one single object. So now we can do anything we want with this one single object. Okay. So now next thing that we need to do is we need to give it a shading. Now there are various different ways by which you can give shading. You can simply go ahead and duplicate this one, give it a lighter color and make it smaller. So this way you can give it shading. There you can give it a shading by using gradient. You can give it a shading by using highlights. So there are various methods, not one single method. So in this case, I think I'm going to use the gradient tool to give it the shading. So as you can see, this tool that you can see, it is known as the gradient tool. So if I select that, and from the top, from the gradient menu, as you can see, this is known as the radial gradient or the circular gradient, and this one is linear. So you need to make sure you have selected the radial gradient, and then we're gonna simply drag it like this. Okay, make sure you select the object and then drag it like this. So as you can see, we have this gradient effect here. So now what we need to do is we need to select this one, and here we need to make sure that our alpha is to full, and need to select this one, and here we need to make sure that we have selected a lighter color. So let me select something like this. So now as you can see, we can see the gradient in action. As you can see, we already have created a cool looking shading here. Now if you want, you can go one step further. So as you can see here, we have the gradient. If you want, you can simply click anywhere in the middle of the line, and as you can see, we have created another node. So you can select the last node, give it a little bit darker color, select the middle node, give it a little bit lighter color, and select the first node and give it the most lighter color. And you can simply drag these handles. If you click on Control, or if you click on Shift and Control, then you will see that both of the handles move pretty much uniformly. So you can use this to change the shading to whatever you want. So let me see what I want. I think I'm gonna move back to our previous shading that I had. So I think I'm gonna use this one. So for this, I think a little bit darker color, something like this. And for this one, this color. Okay, I need to make sure that I delete this thing or give it a little bit darker color. Let's see, something like this. So I think this should work pretty good, because we are not creating a character for the most famous game ever. We are just trying to learn how to do that. So once we have done that, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simply right click and duplicate, or press Ctrl plus D and keep it on the side. And you can press Ctrl and select any of these handles and move it to make it small like this. So I'm going to keep it here for a reference so that we can use it later for anything we want, and we can also use it to create its tentacles or horns or whatever you say we're going to create. So once that's done, now I'm going to select this one, go to this stroke paint, and make sure if you don't have this, you can simply come here and double click on this stroke to go to this fill and stroke menu. So from the stroke paint, I'm going to click on this flat color, and as you can see here, we already have a small little stroke. So now we can go to this stroke style, go to the width, and let's give it a stroke width of 10. Now as you can see, we have a good looking stroke here. I think I'm going to make it 15. Let's see if that looks good. Does that look good? I think 10 should be okay. We can later change it if we want. Okay, so now we're gonna not make it fully black, we're gonna give it a different color. So you can click on the stroke pane, and from here simply select a dark brown like color. Let's see what color I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it something like this should be okay. I want a little bit more brownish color. So let's try to achieve the final color. So I think this should look okay, and I'm gonna make the stroke width 15, I think, because that looks better, I guess. So here we have our character, and if you don't know how I am zooming in and zooming out, I'm simply clicking the control button on my keyboard and then moving my mouse wheel or rotating my mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so with that being done, now the next thing we need to do is we need to create the eyes for the character. As you can see, we have already created the shading. So for the eyes, I'm gonna click on the circle tool, create a circle here, and for the fill color, I'm gonna give it a white fill color. So you can come down below, and from here you can select the white fill color. So as you can see, this is already looking pretty good. If you want, you can simply give it any other color that you want. So now we need to create the eyelid, or not the eyelid, we need to create the, what you can say, retina or pupil or whatever you want. So for that, I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this, make it a little bit smaller, and this time we don't want any stroke, I think. Do we want any stroke? Okay, let's try first, then we can remove the stroke. So for the color, I think I'm gonna give it a bluish color. You can give it any color you want because it's your own character, so no one's gonna bother whatever color you're gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it a color something like this. Let's see how that looks. And now after giving that, we're gonna duplicate it one more time, make it a little bit smaller, and this time I'm gonna give it a white color and position it somewhere like this. So this is your own character, you can do anything you want with it, no one's gonna bother. I'm gonna select everything and make it a little bit smaller, and if you want you can make it a one-eyed monster just like this. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, so I think I'm gonna create two eyes. So let's select all of the eyes, then press Ctrl G on your keyboard, and what will happen is this will create a new group. So that means when you create a group, you can move everything together. Then I'm gonna press Ctrl D to duplicate, and I can simply duplicate the eyes, and this is how it looks like. Does it look good? I'm not sure, so you have to say if it looks good or not. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So now we're gonna give some shading or some effects here. To do that, I'm gonna again select the circle tool and create some circles, and this time we definitely don't want any kind of stroke, so you're gonna go to the stroke and click on no paint, and I'm gonna give it a color black, I think. Let's try black, and now I'm gonna simply change its opacity. So you can go to fill, and from here you can change its alpha like this. And as you can see, it's already giving us a good effect. So now I can simply duplicate this couple of times. Oh, let's give it a little more alpha, little more color, something like this. And now I can simply duplicate this, make it smaller, duplicate it again. Oops, not save it. Duplicate it again and position it here. So this will give it a cool looking effect. I'm gonna give some more in this way, in this side as well. Not this one, man. I'm not sure what I'm doing. So let's give it a color like this. One more time, something like this, and few more. And you can simply select all of them together and duplicate all of them together and then position them on different places wherever you want. Let's see. I think it's looking pretty good. Then again, I'm gonna create some more, and this time I'm gonna give it a whitish color. And just to give it a highlight kind of thing, or just to make it a different shade, and I'm gonna change its alpha a little bit, something like this, and position it here, make few more here as well, and make few more here as well. I think this one looks pretty good. Not that bad for a simple character. So this thing looks pretty good, I think. So next thing we need to do is we need to create its mouth. To do that, you can use any tool you want. So I think I'm gonna create a temporary mouth first, and later on we can create another mouth. So I'm gonna select this pencil tool, press Shift key, and simply drag it to make a line. Now I'm gonna select this path selection tool or edit paths tool, and simply drag it a little bit to make it something like this, to give it a mouth-like shape. So once we have done that, we can go to this stroke, and I'm gonna go to stroke style and make it 10, and make sure to use this brown color. Now how we can get the brown color? To get exactly the brown color, what I can do is I can first save the color in a different place. So here, first of all, let me create a simple rectangle, change its fill to color, and here I'm gonna click on this pick colors tool, and I'm gonna select this color, and as you can see, we have already got this color here. And make sure you change the alpha to full, otherwise we will not be able to get the color. So you can simply click on this eyedropper tool or pick colors, anything you want, and then click on this outline to get the color on our rectangle. So we are actually keeping the color here for reference, so that later whenever we want to use, we can use that. Like here as you can see, we want to use the color for this stroke. So we're going to use the stroke, click on this one and click on this one. Oops, not this one, man. I'm not sure what happened. I think we need to use this color here. So select this one and go to the stroke paint. I think this is not going to work here, so I have to simply use a similar color from here. So I'm going to drag it like this. And as you can see here, we have got a mouth for our character. And you can change its position to make it look like anything you want. I'm not sure if I'm gonna change it later, but for now let's keep it like this. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to create some horns or tentacles, whatever you say, for the character. To do that, I'm gonna reuse these things. So I'm gonna duplicate this and I'm gonna keep it like this. And then we need to create a handle like thing. And for that, I'm gonna use the rectangle tool, drag it like this. And if you don't have this circular kind of rectangle tool, you can simply click on this circle here and drag it, and as you can see, we can make it circular or elliptical or whatever you say it is. And for the color, make sure to click on this and click on this, and as you can see, it has got this color now. Okay, so now that being done, I'm gonna go to path and click on object to path. Now it has been converted to a path. First of all, let me make it a little bit smaller on this axis. Then I'm going to select the path selection tool and make it something like this. Okay, it should work good. So now we can simply position it here. I can click on it one more time to rotate it. Then I can rotate it like this. And I can simply select this one and make sure we give it a stroke. And stroke color will be 10. And as you can see, this one is on the back of this. So if we want to bring it on the top of this, what we need to do is we need to click on the page down, or the page up tool on our keyboard, or we can we can go to object and click on raise. So as you saw, when we clicked on raise, this came on the top. Now we need to bring this one down as well. So before that, I'm gonna select both of these objects, and you can simply use shift to select both of these objects. So select this one, press shift, select this one, and press Ctrl G to group both of them together. Now we're gonna bring them to back so that they go to the back and we don't need to see things like this. For that, we can go to object and click on lower to bottom, and as you can see here, we have it. And we can simply press the shift and control shift key to, or not the shift key, you can press the control key to actually make it smaller like this. I think I want to make it bigger, not that much small. So something like this should work. I'm not sure. I think something like this should work. Okay. And make sure you change the stroke as well. So select the stroke. And okay, let's leave it there for now. And we can press Ctrl D to duplicate it one more time. Press page down key to move it backwards. And then we need to flip it. To flip it on the horizontal axis, you need to press the H key, and as you can see, now we have something like this. Well, it doesn't look that good, but it doesn't look that bad either. So I think I'm gonna keep it like this. So let me show you how we can create animations with it. So if I select this and click on it one more time, as you can see, this is, as you can see here, the crosshair like thing. This is the pivot point around which the object will rotate. Now let's say we want to rotate the object around this point. So we can simply move the pivot point to this position, and now as you can see, we can move the object or rotate the object around this pivot point. So now as you can see, we can simply use this for animation. We can simply rotate it like this and it will animate. For this one as well, I'm gonna do the same thing, but we need only one, because in Unity we can simply use one of them and then change it to anything we want. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna go ahead and create the mouth, because it already looks pretty good, but still let me show you how to create the mouth. So I think I'm gonna use this Bezier curve tool. It's like the pen tool in Adobe Illustrator. So I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna start a line from here, and I'm gonna end a line here. Then again, I'm gonna click here on the starting point one more time. So that way we have completed the path and we have two different lines. So now we can just drag the bottom one down, something like this. And as you can see, we have already got a face like, not a face, a mouth like shape. So remove that for now. And as you can see here, we have the mouth like shape. Something like this. And for the fill color, let's give it a reddish color. Reddish, I'm not sure if that's a word. Go to stroke and click on no stroke. Should I give it a stroke? Let's try giving it a stroke. And for the stroke paint, for the width, let's give it 10. Okay, I think I need to give it a stroke because everything has a stroke here, and you can make it bigger like this. Now let's create some tongue, create the tongues for this character. To do that, I'm gonna use two different circles. So here's one circle. Make sure there's no stroke. And I'm gonna change its color to a little bit darker, something like this. And I'm gonna duplicate it one more time and position it here. So now we have two of these circles. Let's select one of these circles, go to path and click on union. So now both of them are same object. Now we need to cut it so that only this part we can see, which is inside the mouth. To do that, I'm gonna select the mouth and I'm gonna press Ctrl D to duplicate the mouth one more time. Then I'm gonna select the mouth and select the tongues, go to path and click on difference. So when I click on difference, it pretty much gives you the difference of these two objects. So that means it pretty much let me see. Okay, I have done this wrong. So this is not what you want to do. So what you want to do is you need to simply do it so that only this part you can see. And for that, we're not going to use this path difference. Instead of what, we're going to use something called clipping mask. For that, I'm going to duplicate it one more time. So here we have our mouth and here we have our tongue. We can press shift to select both of them. Then you're going to go to object, clip, and click on set. Now as you can see, we have only this part that's being seen here like this. We can make it smaller like this and position it somewhere like this. I'm not sure if it's looking good, but I'm gonna keep it here for now. And then we need to create some teeth. So let's see how we can do that. So I'm gonna select the rectangle tool and create a rectangle like this. I'm gonna make it a little more rectangular, give it a white color, give it a stroke. I think let's give it a stroke. Let's give it a stroke and 10. And I'm gonna make it smaller, position it somewhere like this, and press Ctrl D to duplicate and position another one here. I think I'm going to make it, I need to make it smaller. So something like this should be okay. If you want, you can simply change it to anything you want, or you can give it like this. I think this one looks better, so I'm gonna keep it like this. So let's give it like this and make it a little bit larger. Okay, so we have done that. So now I'm gonna select the mouth, the tongue, and the teeth and press Ctrl G on my keyboard to group all of them together so that we don't disturb these things at least. So now we have pretty much done the basic of the character. So the last thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the eyelids for the character. And you might ask what I'm gonna do with the eyelids. Actually, by using the eyelids, we will be able to create the blinking animation for the character. So let's see how we can do that. So I think it's gonna be a little bit complicated than what we have done before. So let's see how we can do that. First of all, I'm gonna go ahead and create a circle, and this is our circle, and we need to make sure that we are creating a circle as big as our eyes or a little bit bigger than that. And we also need to make sure we don't have any stroke here. So go to the stroke and click on no. And let me make it a little bit bigger, something like this. Then go to the color picker tool and click on this or this to give it a little bit darker shade. Now I'm going to press Ctrl D to duplicate and position it here. Now we need to actually clip it in two different parts. So we can make it the top part of the eyelid and the bottom part of the eyelid. So to do that, what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna select this rectangle tool. Okay, first of all, let me go ahead and duplicate this one more time and keep it here for our reference. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this rectangle tool, create a rectangle like this. Let me give it a different color so that you can understand what I'm doing. So what I want to do is I want to cut this part from the eyelid so that we can only see this top part from here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to select the rectangle and select the eye, go to path and click on difference. Now as you can see, we can only see that top part. So now by using the same method, we need to cut the top part from this one so that we can see the bottom part only. To do that, I'm gonna duplicate it one more time and press Ctrl to move it on the straight line like this and position it over this circle. Let me give it a different color so that I can show you one more time what I'm actually doing. So I'm gonna position it, I think, right about here. Then I'm gonna select the bigger one, select the smaller one, go to path and click on difference one more time. So this way, as you can see, oops, I think we have done something wrong. So let me press Ctrl Z and try to do it one more time. So let me make it a little bit larger so that we don't have that problem that we faced previously. So let me select the outer one, inner one, path and difference. So now, as you can see, we have the bottom part and the top part for the eyelid. So let me move it back, and we can press Ctrl to move it at this position, and we can press Ctrl to move it at this position. So when we want to close the eyes, we can simply bring the, or we can simply activate the bottom part of the eyelid and then simply deactivate it again, and it will look like it is creating a blinking animation. Okay, so let's keep it for reference here. We can later use it in Unity. And I think I'm going to give a little bit shadow or a little bit highlight to the top part of the eyelid. To do that, I think, let's see what I'm going to do. To do that, I think I'm going to create a gradient like thing. Not a gradient, I'm going to create a Bezier curve. So I'm going to select this one, and this one again. Then I'm going to go to Edit Paths, select the top one and move it something like this. And for the bottom one, move it something like this. I think this should work. Let's see. And we definitely don't want the stroke. Let's give it a white color feel. And for the stroke, let's give it none. Now, as you can see, we are giving it a highlight, something like this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the alpha of this color, of this white. So I'm going to go to stroke paint, not stroke paint, oops, go to fill. And from here, as you can see, we have given it a white color. We're going to reduce the alpha something like this, just so that it looks like a shiny effect, or you know what I'm trying to say. So I think I'm gonna give it a little bit brighter color. Let's see how that looks like. I think the brighter color should look better. Well, you will not be able to notice all these things when you have a very small screen and the character is very small, but still we are doing these things just for learning purpose. So I'm going to select both of these things, not that one. I'm going to select both of these things and press Ctrl G to group them, and press Ctrl D to duplicate one more time and position it on the second eye. So now we have pretty much created our character. So our character is ready and it is ready to be animated. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it in this part. So now our character is ready to be animated. So before exporting, let me put all the parts in different places so that we can export it as a sprite sheet, or export it as a bunch of sprites together, and then in Unity we can use them to slice up and create our animation. So from here, I'm gonna, first of all, let me select all of them and press Ctrl D to duplicate and keep a copy on here. So here we have the copy of the full character, and let me from here select both of this, and we will need only one because in Unity we can simply flip it and use it. So I'm gonna delete this one. Oops, not like that. I'm gonna select this one and delete this one. And for that one, I think I'm gonna have to make the stroke paint a little bit bigger. So let's go to stroke style and make it 10. Now it looks good. So now I'm gonna position it here. I'm gonna bring my eyelids, position them here. And here are all the things that we need to animate. So in Unity, we're gonna simply put these things differently so that we can animate it in Unity. So I'm gonna select all of them, go to File, click on Export Bitmap, And make sure you have this selection selected, because that means we're going to export only the selected part and not anything extra. So as you can see here, we have this 1035. I'm gonna make the size a little bit smaller. I think let's make it 500. Or let's keep it at this position, because later on we can change the size. So let's name it to Monster Tutorial Sprites and click on export. So now you will see these things will be exported as a sprite. So now you will see here we have our new sprite. So as you can see here, we have the new character that we have just created, and I think it looks pretty awesome. So next we're gonna use it we're gonna bring it to Unity and do some awesome cool looking animations with the character. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed. It was a really simple character, but we have learned so many things just by creating this simple character, and you can use these skills to build anything that you want. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, and make sure to check out the next video where we're gonna create our animation in Unity. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and if you like this video, make sure to give this video a like. So thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next videos.